Hello and welcome back at Living with an E60. I was experiencing fuel limits due to MAF sensor maxing out at high RPM. Also, BMW MAF sensors are far from cheap, and a defective unit can cause the engine to run sluggish and have high fuel consumption. Every common rail diesel knows exactly how much air it gets, even when the muscle flow sensor is unplugged. It calculates air mass pretty accurately by the speed density method. And because my muscle flow sensor was maxing out at high boost at high RPM, I plugged it off. Fuel limits were higher and lambda values were not too high anymore. But since not using the muscle flow sensor anymore, this mesh is not a flow straightener for flow sampling anymore, it is basically a restriction. So I took an old E39 MAF unit with a removable sensor that is quite similar to mine and took some time to remove this mesh. To do this, I used pliers and Proxxon style tool. Wipe it with a cloth and we're good. Now, not having a sensor in the MAF unit exposes a hole, and that hole has to be filled. I have drawn a plug that fits nicely in that hole. It's designed so that it disturbs the airflow as little as possible. I 3D printed it. The print is not the nicest I know, but it will do the job nicely. I fit an O-ring seal, try it if it fits, and it's done. Replacing the MAF unit is pretty straightforward. Open the bonnet, remove engine cover by undoing 5 Allen screws, unplug a MAF connector, undo 2 more Allen screws to remove an intake hose between the muscle flow sensor unit and a turbocharger, and continue removing a MAF unit after undoing 2 external torque screws that hold the MAF unit in place. Here we go. Quite a difference, isn't it? Put a new modified unit in place, but be sure not to bend an air filter seal. Let it sit nicely in place. The rest is a reversal of a removal. Be sure not to over tighten anything or not to leave anything loose. Make sure that an intake hose sits well on the turbocharger. A missing MAF will certainly cause an emission fault with an engine fault light. Here I'm using a KD-CAN cable and an Android phone with a Beamer Tools app. It is a very powerful tool for scanning and logging. The intake air temperature sensor is a part of a MAF sensor and is there only for reference. The real intake air temperature is measured between an intercooler and an EGR. Never mind the glow plug faults, I will fix them in the next video. So these faults that have to be removed have been written down and will be disabled in the ECU software that has previously been extracted from the engine control unit. I will do that by using a DTC remover program. Simply open the file, choose what ECU type this software belongs to, write in a fault code and press the DTC button so the program processes the file. And when I'm done, I save the file and flash the ECU. I'm doing that using the flasher interface. It is all very similar to a classic remap, the main difference being what has been changed in the ECU software. It's recommended to have a suitable battery charger hooked to a car, especially if the battery is not the best. This is a process that takes some time, so I will speed it up a bit. Having a cluster full of faults during a flashing process is normal, no need to panic. The communication line between the ECU and other modules is offline. Reset the ECU after flashing. And once again scan ECU for fault codes. And all that is left is some material for the next video. Nice! Now the air mass restriction is gone and it is clearly seen with diagnostic tools and on the road. Thank you for watching. Till next time.